Hello everybody and welcome to Written in Blood. My name is John and today I'm going to be doing my April TBR video. In March I put down that I was going to read 5 books. I had on my April TBR that I was going to read 5 books. And I'm just about to get finished. I'm like more than halfway through the last one, which is Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff, and I'm really enjoying that one. But the thing about it is I read the 5 books on my TBR, and in between that, I also managed to read 5 Batgirl graphic novels, which were probably about anywhere from 195 to 225 pages or so longer. So I was able to do that. So with that being said, since I've got all that reading done, I realized that I don't have to just put 5 books down on my TBR, that I can actually read more, hopefully, depending on how things go. But anyway, what I wanted to do this time in April, was what I wanted to do was kind of have divide them up a little bit. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to read a non-horror book. I wanted to read 3 books that I have from, I want to read a non-horror book. I want to read a horror novel by a black author. Okay. I wanted to read 3 of the books that I've got on my list of books that I said that I would read in exchange for honest reviews. So I can get those out of the way and keep my word, of course. I want to read 1 Stephen King book, and I want to read 1 short story collection. So let's go ahead and get underway. We'll start first with the non-horror book. And this one is one that I have told people about, or I've talked about on my channel before, and most people just tell me basically that I'm going to be taking one for the team and reading this one. And I'm talking about Uncle Vampire, and this is by Cynthia D. Grant. I believe this was published, I can't remember when, 1993. Anyway, it's about a little girl, told from a little girl's point of view, and it's about her uncle sneaking into her room at night and sexually assaulting or molesting her and her sister. And I don't want to give away a reason why it's called Uncle Vampire, but it's to me it's a pretty disturbing reason. But I wanted to read it. I've heard good things about it, and I wanted to read it. So I'll read the synopsis to you, though. He can't hurt us now. Honey sleeps, safe. My family dreams while I keep walking. I leave my eyes behind and find the quiet place. He clasps my throat like the neck of a bottle and drinks and drinks and drinks. Carolyn would like to reveal the secret of her uncle's awful night visits to someone, her older sister Maggie, maybe, or her parents. But she is sure they'll think she's crazy, and besides, her twin sister Honey thinks they should keep quiet. As a popular girl with lots of friends, she doesn't want to go along with Carolyn and be labeled crazy too. But what if Uncle Toddy is a vampire? Carolyn is being drained. He could even turn her into a vampire. But there is a way to get rid of the vampire. Drag him into the light. A powerful and disturbing book for mature readers. So yeah, I wanted to give this book a shot. And I do plan on posting a review of it. So yes. All right. Oops, sorry about that. Anyway, okay. Next up, the book that I want to read by a black author. And I've heard so many good things about this book. Spooky Noodles over on his channel, he just completely sang this book's praises. And after reading Lovecraft Country, which is from the perspective of a black man, although it's not written by a black author, I did want to read this one also. And this is also one that deals with cosmic horror and Lovecraft and racism, I believe. And this is The Ballad of Black Tom. This is by Victor Laval. And this will be the first book I've ever read by Victor Laval. I'm not sure if I read any stories by him or not. People move to New York looking for magic, and nothing will convince them it isn't there. Charles Thomas Tester hustles to put food on the table to keep the roof over his father's head from Harlem to Flushing Meadows to Red Hook. He knows what magic a suit can cast, the invisibility a guitar case can provide, and the curse written on his skin that attracts the eyes of wealthy white folks and their cops. But when he delivers an occult book to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens, Tom opens the door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. A storm that might swallow the world is building in Brooklyn. Will Black Tom live to see it break? So that is the Ballad of Black Tom. Okay, and then next up, I've got the 3 books that I have on my list of books that I said I would read in exchange for honest reviews. So the first one is going to be Saint Sadist, and this is by Lucas Mangum. I've talked about this one on my channel before. Pregnant with her father's child, 19-year-old Courtney is a girl on the run, willing to do anything to make her way on the road. When a car accident leaves her wounded by the side of a desolate highway, she's taken in by an environmentalist doomsday cult led by the enigmatic St. Ambrose, a charismatic preacher and ex-environmental scientist who gave up everything after claiming to see the face of God. When he meets the seemingly vulnerable Courtney, he is taken by her beauty and her wounded soul. Now, with the promise of salvation hanging in the balance, Courtney must undergo a series of trials, each more painful and humiliating than the last. Her incestuously conceived baby growing in her womb, a strange presence visiting her at night, and telling her Ambrose has lost his way, and it is she who must overthrow him. So yeah, that is Saint Sadist by Lucas Mangum. All right. Next up, and this is from Paul Kane. I have not read anything about Paul Kane. I've got a couple of his books. I just have not read them. One of them is Sherlock Holmes and the Servants of Hell, or something. I believe that's the name of it, which is a Sherlock Holmes Hellraiser mashup, which sounds incredibly awesome. All right. Anyway, this is Blood Red Sky. And this cover design is by Keelan Patrick Burke, author of Kin. And We Live Inside Your Eyes, I believe is the name of the book, as well as a number of other books. They're really awesome. It's really cool. If you turn it back around here, you see this eyeball. Keelan Patrick Burke, his artwork, it's got a way of, when you first look at it, you don't realize what you're looking at. And then you go, oh, wow, okay. It's like with Coleridge. If you look at the cover of Coleridge, you don't realize that the doorway is on this guy's back, and it's like a huge silhouette, of the guy Slade from one of the main characters of the book. But anyway, this is Blood Red Sky. I digress. Sorry about that. The world has changed ever since the night that the blood red sky appeared, and the adults were wiped out by what some of those who remain call the trolls. Huge hulking beasts that hunt the young survivors. One such group have tried to make a life for themselves, tried to create another family after losing their original ones, whilst at the same time planning a way to defeat the creatures who roam this new landscape. But that's all about to change. Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot read this part here because it has the not for resale thing. The latest post-apocalyptic tale from Paul Kane, the #1 best-selling and award-winning author of the Hooded Man novels, Pain Cages, Lunar, Before the Rot, and Sherlock Holmes and the Servants of Hell. This is a compelling coming-of-age novella unlike anything you have ever read. And that is Blood Red Sky, Paul Kane. All right. I think I say all right too much. And last but not least on the books I'm going to read for honest reviews is Whiteout. And this is by Ashton Macaulay. And as you can tell, this is going to definitely be a Bigfoot novel, or Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti. I jokingly wrote Ashton Macaulay and told him, I said, judging from the cover, it looks like it's going to be one about the Loch Ness Monster. And of course he LOL'd, but anyway. Okay. Nick Ventnor is a drunk with a blatant disregard for others. He's also damn good at hunting creatures that aren't supposed to exist. How do you do that? From an amateur necromancers in the bayou to Sasquatch impersonators in the Pacific Northwest, Nick's seen it all, even if some of the details might be a little fuzzy. In Whiteout, Nick faces his greatest challenge to date. Accompanied by his trusty mountain god Lop Sang and his testy apprentice James, Nick journeys into the Himalayas to settle a matter of pride and payouts as he searches for the lost riches of Shangri-La, rumored to lie within the mountain's peak. However, the sudden arrival of Nick's greatest adversary, Manchester, complicates matters and pits the two in a race towards the top, where both soon find that they have not just one another to contend with, but also a mythical and elusive Yeti that has been terrorizing the mountain. Featuring death-defying obstacles, hair-raising encounters with creatures from beyond, and a heavy dose of sarcasm along the way, Whiteout is sure to satisfy anyone looking for a fast-paced adventure novel brimming with action, suspense, and imagination, not to mention the occasional whiskey on the rocks. That's Whiteout by Ashton McCauley. Alrighty. And now I want the one that I said I wanted to read by Stephen King. This is a really small book of his. I've heard it's not one of his best books. Edward Lorne just absolutely hated it. But I've got it, so I figure I might as well read it. And I'm talking about Elevation. Okay? And, of course, I'll let y'all know what I think about it. Anyway. Let's see here. Castle Rock is a small town where word gets around quickly. That's why Scott Carey wants to confide only in his friend, Dr. Bob Ellis, about his strange condition. He's losing weight without getting thinner, and the scales register the same whether he is in his clothes or out of them, no matter how heavy they are. Okay, what is that? Thinner in reverse or something like that? You know. Scott also has new neighbors who have opened a fine dining experience in town, although it's an experience being shunned by the locals. Deidre McComb and her wife Missy Donaldson don't exactly conform to a lifestyle the community approves of. And now Scott seems trapped in a feud with the couple over their dogs dropping their business on his lawn. Missy may be warm and friendly, but Deidre is cold as ice. As the town prepares for its annual Thanksgiving 12K run, Scott begins to understand the prejudices the women face and tries to help. Unlikely alliances form, and the mystery of Scott's affliction brings out the best in people who have indulged the worst in themselves and others. So yeah, that is Elevation. And you know what? Just reading the synopsis of this book, it does not sound very good. So Edward, you might have been right about this one. You probably are. Anyway. But yeah, that's my Stephen King. And finally, I wanted to read a short story collection. So I'm going to read the Book of Cthulhu. And this is by Ross Lockhart. Edited by Ross Lockhart. Has tales inspired by H.P. Lovecraft from Cage Baker, Laird Barron, Elizabeth Bear, Ramsey Campbell, David Drake, Caitlin R. Kiernan, Thomas Ligotti, Tim Pratt, Sherry Priest, W.H. Pugmire, Charles Stross, Gene Wolfe, and many others. First described by visionary author H.P. Lovecraft, the Cthulhu mythos encompasses a pantheon of truly existential cosmic horror, eldritch, uncaring, alien god things beyond mankind's deepest imaginings, drawing ever nearer, insatiably hungry until one day when the stars are right. As that dread day hinted at within the moldering pages of the fabled Necronomicon draws nigh, tales of the great old ones, Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth, Hastur, Azathoth, Nyarlathotep, have cross-pollinated, drawing authors and other dreamers to imagine the strange, dark eons ahead when the dead but dreaming gods return. Now intrepid anthologist Rossi Lockhart has delved deep into the Cthulhu canon, selecting from myriad mind-racking tomes 27 sanity-shattering stories of cosmic terror, featuring fiction by many of today's masters of the menacing, macabre, and monstrous, including Laird Barron, Caitlin R. Kiernan, and Thomas Ligotti. The Book of Cthulhu goes where no collection of Cthulhu mythos tales has gone before, to the very edge of madness, and beyond. Anyway, that's going to be it for my April TBR. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Stay home unless you absolutely have to go out. Stay healthy. All right? See you later. Bye.